So for the past 5 or 6 years, I've really developed a passion around trying to understand and implement a very shallow water swim jig technique that I want to share with you. And it's really intended for the summer months. That's whenever it really shines, say from right about now, June, all the way to the start of the fall. And interestingly enough, to me, it's about 18 inches of water is the depth that I'm fishing. So I'm literally looking at the bottom whenever I'm catching these fish. And what's been a surprise to me, or eye-opening to me, is that I'm catching them from say 11 o'clock till 3 o'clock, right in the brightest part of the day. And you would think that would be really good during the low light periods, but the fact is those fish just aren't up there. So they're not resident fish. They're just moving in at certain periods of time during that bright sun. They're feeding and then they're moving off. And where they go, I really don't know, but if you can time it right, you can catch some good fish in a very short amount of time. Now, the two things I'm looking for from a cover standpoint or location standpoint is going to be slow tapering main lake flats, and I want isolated cover. So for me, that's going to be some type of brush or bushes, and that isolated cover just helps concentrate the fish, and it gives me a target to throw at versus trying to get through vast stands of cover. So those two combinations are what I'm looking for whenever I'm just scanning across the lake. And the swim jig itself and the trailer is really important. You want a heavy cover swim jig. I like a 3/8 ounce version. But just as importantly, I love the Yamamoto Yamacraw on the back of that jig. And I like the lift that Yamacraw provides. It's got great leg action and that kicking motion. And just as importantly, it's made of a denser plastic so it doesn't slide down into the bend of the hook. And I'm not constantly fighting the trailer. It stays in place. And I just catch a lot of fish on that Yamacraw trailer. Color, I'm not overly obsessed about. I think white or pumpkin, that's fine. As long as you can get the bait in front of the fish, I think they're going to bite it. And lastly, I'll just say you want to make sure you're crashing that jig right into the heart of the shade, because that's how you're going to get your bites. It's kind of like fishing a square bill crankbait. They're going to hit it as that jig deflects. It's one of the coolest techniques that I've run across. Again, it's kind of counter to everything I thought I knew about bass behavior, and I hope it puts some fish in the boat for you this summer.